Yo, 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 everyone! What's going on? Welcome to episode 60 of Climbing the Ladder. I'm your host, ChanmanV, and today we're going to be talking all about Homestory Cup, really getting the ins and outs of Homestory Cup, particularly from the business side of things. And we're lucky enough to get a chance to do the Post-Mortem with the person behind all of this. So joining me as always, and each and every week, is the champion for Quake and all that is grassroots tournaments, Mr. John Clark. What's up?
Not much. How are you doing?
Oh, good as always.
Great.
Also joining me each and every week is the editor-in-chief of Cadre.org, and a man that proves that the pen is deadlier than the sword. Mr. Richard Lewis, what's up, buddy?
I haven't killed anyone yet with anything I wrote, but I'm sure it is just a matter of time. But yeah, it's great to be here as always, Chris. Thank you.
You've almost killed everybody. You've almost killed.
I've made people want to kill themselves. I don't know if that's quite the same thing. But...
Wait, is there something wrong with our overlay? Hold on a second.
if it's over my face, no one's going to complain.
Yeah, does look a little funny.
Is there something wrong with it? Oh, wow. I swear, each and every... Whoa, what's going on?
The overlay is actually missing.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Okay, let me fix that real quick. Jeez, that's kind of weird. That's... This other preview screen I have, it's actually there, so that's some weird going on.
When are we hiring that new producer, by the way, Chris?
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
When's that happening?
Oh, God.
Because, there's just green titles, no overlay.
Okay, there we go. Jeez, I don't know what happened there. It's like seriously.
These sound like amateurish mistakes to me. I'm just a layperson.
You're an asshole, man. Fuck you. Fuck you. But joining us, our guest this week is lucky enough to have him because he's been so busy. Today he was just casting RSL earlier too. Is the man behind Homestory Cup. He's a caster. He's a host. He's all things that are German and good. This Mr. Danis. How do you pronounce your last name? Gehlen?
Gehlen, yeah.
Gehlen? But we all know him as TaKe. But welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, nice to be here for my first time, and well, let's see where we're going tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of things to ask you, obviously, just because, I've never had you... It's never dawned on me to have you on the show until the last couple of weeks, and I was telling John, that is about the dumbest thing ever for me, because if there's anything that's perfect for this show, it's Homestory Cup, and getting a chance to, just learn about all the details and go through that with you. So, really happy that we're finally making this happen, and should be fun.
Yeah, I hope so.
So why don't we kick it off by telling you, obviously Homestory Cup number 7 was this past weekend, and it was a huge success, as always, as all the Homestory Cups are. But I kind of want to start off by asking you, and then we'll probably get opinions of everybody here, why you think that Homestory Cup is so special compared to all the other events.
Well, I think there are a lot of events which are successful and also special, but Homestory Cup, I guess, is special because it's unique in its own way, which means there are a few things which make it very special. Like players cast a lot of games; they have fun casting. The players, I know tournaments who actually pay players to cast a few games, or they did this in the past. But for Homestory Cup, people they almost fight to cast. Like they always keep asking, "Can I ask the next can I cast the next games?" and so on. The good thing about Homestory Cup is also that everyone is in one flat, so more or less they are forced in a good way because they enjoy it to hang around with all the players. So that means that you have always cool camera pictures with the players in a room, having some lunch, enjoying some, I don't know, soccer table, or just watching games behind other players and practice some more. Stuff like this. If you compare to big tournaments like MLG or DreamHack, they have huge areas most of the times, and whenever a player lose or just have some free time, he might go to McDonald's and is like not close by to I don't know, do an interview or be in the camera and stuff like that. And yeah, the atmosphere, that's all about it. And it just like everything is connected, and in the end you have a cool atmosphere. Everyone feels just welcomed and just nice being at Homestory Cup.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the few events where I feel like there's this camaraderie of being players throughout the event. But obviously, when you sit down at the computer, then it gets super competitive. But yeah, it's really cool. Seeing those guys. I know a lot of players have gone, for the first time. They always say how nice it is just to really get a chance to meet some of the other players and really get a chance to talk to them and all that bit. But you definitely provide plenty of entertainment for the players. That's for darn sure. So, Richard, what do you think of it? Because you've been to Homestory Cup before.
Yeah, I mean, look, the first thing is, like, the reason the players like it so much is because the environment Dennis has created is it's just away from the bullshit. Like, there's nothing worse, I think, than being a player, and that is kind of everyone wanting a piece of your time after you've competed and having to kind of divide that time up. So, it's guys like me usually harassing the players for interviews and stuff while they're at other tournaments. And some schedules are really punishing. Like, prime example, just finished DreamHack. Dennis will definitely be able to testify to this. The games are being played between 10 a.m. to like 1 a.m. or whatever it is. Can be quite a long, grueling day, and it's very hard for the press to kind of fit in around the players because you get them when they're either out the tournament and they don't want to talk because they've just gone out, or you can't get them because they're right, I've got to play my next series now. So it can be very hard. What's great about the Homestory Cup is if you're there, if you've been invited, as I've been lucky enough to be, everyone presumes you're already cool. You're one of the good guys. Like no one's got their guard up around you. So the players that you're exposed to, the version of the player that you meet is completely different to the professional at regular tournaments version. That veneer is dropped, and people don't mind giving you the interview because they think, well, there's only like 6 press guys here, and the guys that here must be all right. They must be all nice guys, or Dennis wouldn't have them in his house. So, that you generally get like some great content. And certainly for me, if I hadn't have attended the first Homestory Cup I did, which I think was Homestory Cup 5, it might have been 4, I forget which. But if I'd not gone to that, I would have had no presence within StarCraft 2 at all because I got really good interviews with very relaxed players, which naturally suits my interview style anyway, in an environment where they felt comfortable talking for half an hour about any old bullshit. And those interviews I did there at Homestory Cup are what put me on the map within the StarCraft 2 community. So that it's a special environment because there literally is nothing else like it out there, and everyone's really respectful of each other within that space because to be invited, you've got to be one of the good guys. So that and the fact that it's above a bar, which also makes it doubly awesome.
Yeah, John, why don't you think there have not been other organizations or people to even try what Homestory does, especially over here in NA?
I would say mostly it's because Homestory's already doing it. And I think, there's always that thing, well, it just comes off as copying, and everyone wants to do their own thing.
Everybody copies each other. What are you talking about?
They copy them they copy each other in some ways, but you don't want to duplicate it exactly. I'm not quite sure why they have it. I think the mindset here is that you have to run these huge WWE style tournaments in North America for it to mean anything. In reality, I don't think that's the case at all. Obviously, Homestory Cup is a perfect example of what can be done with a more intimate. Maybe Lone Star Clash is slightly closer to that, but that's not even the case. I don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't feel comfortable having a bunch of gamers in their house. I really don't know.
See, that's the thing. Like, I'm going to ask you, Dennis, is that John, you bring up Lone Star Clash as a good example because it's funny because Lone Star Clash is kind of this in-between mix because I feel like those guys, they actually want to be as professional as possible, kind of make something that's very small scale in terms of the money that's invested into it, into as big of a production as possible. But I think what Dennis does with Homestory is the complete opposite. They don't do any of those things. I know Dennis does a ton of things from a production standpoint in the background, but from the standpoint of just, like, again, casters and that sort of bit, it's pretty casual. There is organization to it, but it is fairly casual. So, Dennis, like, why do you think that Why do you think that side of it works? I mean, I can tell that you're not trying to again try to make it as just quote unquote professional as possible. So I don't know. What is it? Just our culture or gaming culture or what?
I mean, for the people who know how it started, like with Homestory Cup 1, uh, it was just the idea, just have some fun with players, because these players were my friends, which were people like Soccer, Red, Haarsops, Rotterdam, for example. These players, I knew them from like even before StarCraft 2, most of them, and we just want to have some fun, have some beers. It was like probably some games will be casted and so on. Have a small tournament, have some motivation to play a small cup, and for me, it's like still the most important thing about Homestory Cup, which is the only product which I still think is like 100% like this, is that the players feel comfortable and yeah.
It was really about the beers, though, wasn't it?
Exactly.
It was really more about the beers. Yep.
I think in the beginning it was more about whiskey and beer. Yeah, a mix of both.
Oh, whiskey and beer.
It's dangerous. You get the wrong players drinking whiskey, and that's...
All right, so what you're telling me is drunk playing is what...
Wrong about that, because this Homestory Cup we had some, well, stuff happening.
No, do share.
That's the point of the show, man.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. After show parties are always nice. People who shouldn't drink that much do drink too much.
That's cool.
But about the question, yeah. Well, I think we make it look like it's very, very casual. I think behind it, it's very professional. Mm-hmm. I've seen a few productions. I've been in the production of MLG, DreamHack, ESL, so I've seen like big productions, and I don't feel we are in some things we don't have the budget and the technical stuff to have the same production, but especially with the people behind it, I think we are in some ways even ahead of the big productions, because some of the people have more insight about the games, about what is very important in a show and stuff like that.
Who are these people that you're talking about?
Well, actually, people I know from where I've worked before. I don't know if you know Giga TV, which was a German television channel. At some point, they started doing esport, which started with Warcraft 3, a little bit of StarCraft 1, and I think Counter-Strike was a little bit involved too. They had some tournaments, and at some point, for the people who don't know, ESL bought some percentage of the company, like I don't know, 1/3 of the Giga TV channel. Mm-hmm. So they were combined, and yeah, the producer who worked at Giga is now like always working for me at the Homestory Cup. He's a good friend of mine, and he always comes over just for Homestory Cup, and he has always been into games. Like he's not addicted to StarCraft or so, but he knows all the players, and well, more important, he knows everything about the production, what is important, and so on, and which helps Homestory Cup a lot, because he's crazy. He always wants funny pictures. He always wants good cuts and so on, and yeah, he's the guy after 4 days of Homestory Cup who goes almost crazy, because well, we can't deliver everything he wants, but yeah, this makes him a little bit mad. But yeah, he improves the Homestory Cup a lot. And
how long has he been helping you with this, since the beginning?
Since Homestory Cup 3, since it was bigger than just from my old apartment, which was 55 square meter.
Oh jeez.
Oh my god. What? That is tiny,
and
man.
In the old one we had 12 players on the same time, and power supply problems.
Yeah, okay, so this is a good segue into the next topic, which is what are the biggest things that have progressed, from Homestory Cup 1 to Homestory Cup 7?
Well, I think from like the first 2 ones were in my old apartment, which was, as I said, very small. We had some internet problems in the beginning. Like also, get enough electrician for all the computers was a problem, stuff like that. But then with Homestory Cup 3, I rent a new flat, which was 175 square meter plus some outside area. I still don't know the English name. In German, it's Atrium. I don't know if it's Atrium in English, but
That's right.
it sounds
Yeah,
like
that
it could make sense.
Yeah.
Which is like, I don't know, another 15, so it's almost 200 square meter. But the flat looked so messy in the beginning. There was nothing. Like, we had to get more electrician, a lot more, for the gaming room, also for the production room and so on. So we added a lot more electrician. We had to ask for 4 internet connection. Finally, we are set up
4?
with enough
Wow.
internet.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like, usually in Germany you get like 100 Mbit download, 10 Mbit upload for one person,
Nice.
which is, yeah, but if you have like 4 streams on the same time and editors and the gamers, you want to upload videos from your crew, stuff like that, which takes so much upload, you need a lot more upload than just 10K or 20K, which is not enough.
Right.
Yeah, well, the network
So-
for all computers, yeah.
I'm a little confused. So you had a production room, a gaming room. Did you have a bathroom and a bedroom? I mean, this was all in your apartment?
In the old one or in the new one?
Yeah, in the new one.
In the new one, actually, I have slept 1.5 years in the production room.
Oh my.
I had my
Okay.
bed. Actually, I had a bed. Yeah, no TV. I had just had a bed and stuff for my clothes, and the production room in it. So basically, whenever we had a show, and I was probably still sleeping, people came into my room and started to turn on all the stuff. Especially Sunday, because I always go out on Saturday, and I'm fucking wasted on Sundays. And the Go for StarCraft 2 Cup starts at 2 p.m. and I usually sleep until 2 p.m. And yeah, this was the
So when you hear the snoring in the background when you're watching those events,
No,
you know what it is.
because the show starts and I have to cast it. That was the problem.
Oh shit! Okay, that's even
Yeah,
even worse.
this is actually how it started. And yeah, at least I had a bathroom which was private, which was the only room I felt private.
That's nice.
Jeez.
So what room are you in right now?
Sorry?
What room are you in right now? What room
still-
are you in?
Okay. Yeah. Well, after 1.5 years, I got a new flat, which is just one area above, which is a second floor, and now I have my private rooms, and I invest a lot of time and money into my new rooms, which I actually use for Homestory Cup 2, just as a chill out area nowadays. But this is fine to me, and yeah, which is just separates work and private a lot more. I really felt this because I was bit burned out after 1.5 years of working and living in the same area, because whenever you wake up you start working,
Yeah.
and whenever you stop working you start sleeping, and this is all you do whenever you work and live in one area, which is
Yeah.
okay for the beginning, because I was afraid of not having enough money to just pay the bills and so on, but yeah, I knew I had to stop this at some point,
Yeah.
because it influenced my whole life too, also my private life.
So yeah. So right now, I mean, it sounds like you have a really good setup right now. Given even with the bar downstairs too, it just seems so perfect for exactly what you do. So any thoughts on changing places or no?
Yeah, some thoughts, yes, but like nothing serious so far. I feel like this area is almost perfect. I would love to have 1-2 rooms more, just to have like a own room for editors, a own room which is not just for the editors, door between it and so on, and also room for one more room which is also only the chill out area, because we have with Homestory Cup we always have a B stream and also a C stream, which is a tech talk stream for the sponsors and so on, which also takes a lot of space.
Oh.
And yeah, that gives me a space problem a little bit. I have the area upstairs where I live, but which I noticed, whenever you still have 2 flats for one tournament, people separate, people split, and you're gonna lose a little bit of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Because you want all the people in one area. Don't let them leave like one floor above, because this already split so much. Yeah, I had
What's
to.
the- What's the most that you've had in your house at one time?
I had a party when I got my second floor flat, which was like 120 or so. It was okay. It was
Nice.
fun. The police came pretty often.
Pretty often.
Yeah. Well, actually, my guests thought that it would be fun because there were 2 women coming, and I thought it would be stripper, so they didn't think it was serious, the police, and they told me like, please come outside, and I was like, okay. I closed the door, and they were screaming and stuff like that. I thought they would like do a strip on me or something like that, but this wasn't. that wasn't real. They told me if they have to come back one more time, they take the sound system, and then the party will be over.
Do you have neighbors? Like people that live?
I have
next
horrible neighbors. Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you actually do have neighbors. That's crazy.
They even threatened. We were coming out of. It must have been the last night. We came out of the bar, like 'cause the apartment's kind of here, and there's a bar like underneath. And we were coming out, and there was some guys up in the flat, and like we weren't even talking loudly. I was like, how are we going to get back to the hotel? I think some of the other guys had gone on to a nightclub, and me being a bit too old for that sort of caper, I was like, fuck it, I just want to walk back to the hotel. What we all doing? We were talking to some of the fans that we met there. It was the only time I think I've ever been recognised in my entire career for being an esports reporter. So I was indulging it, living up the moment. Like, this is fucking awesome, being recognised, getting drunk with a fan. Awesome. And there was a guy in one of the apartments across there's like a big courtyard outside of TaKe's apartment. And this guy just started shouting out in German, first of all. I only speak very basic German. I was like, what the fuck, dude? And he was like, we're calling, I heard Polizei. I know what that means. So it's like, fucking, right, it's time to get the fuck out of here. But yeah, they didn't seem to like it. And that was just off a conversation. So when it gets rowdy, I can imagine. But the best guy is that what's he called, Penaboo, that tramp.
Yeah.
That
right.
homeless guy, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a homeless guy. When I say tramp as well for American things, I'm not talking about a woman with loose
That's
morals,
what I was.
right?
He was telling me the story, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What? There's some woman outside? That's
Chris was like, what, there's a woman just giving it
There's
away
a prostitute outside?"
Like,
Exactly.
no, it's not like that. But yeah, there's a very famous homeless guy, or a hobo, whatever you want to call him, called Penaboo, and he's like, he kept interrupting all the player interviews, and there's a video he got on YouTube where he just recites. Yeah, he recites. Because I interviewed him. I thought, fuck it, why not? Like, so I interviewed him. I was asking him who he thought was going to win the Homestory Cup, and of course he doesn't know what the Homestory Cup is. So he just recited a poem. So it's a pretty wild place. Like, there's all sorts going on all the time. But you can hear Penaboo when he's coming, because he's dressed as like a cross between a policeman and a nurse's outfit, and he's got like long white hair and a massive dirty beard. And when he comes into the square, he blows like a whistle, like a football whistle, to let everyone know he's there. It's brilliant,
I'm
honestly.
Find this. I have to find this video for you.
Yeah, find the video because I'm curious.
Yeah, I'll bring it. No, it's not Honey Boo Boo. Someone say
You find it.
I did that.
You sent it to me.
Richard, you know that he got his own YouTube channel?
Yeah, I know. The thing that pissed me off was I interviewed him to joke, and he's more fucking
This
famous
guy's
than
bigger
me.
than Richard.
He's got
now.
more followers than me. This homeless guy in Crayfeld has got more followers than me on
Here
YouTube.
we go. Somebody just linked me his YouTube channel. Okay, here we go.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna edit in the chat.
Okay,
right?
let me see this. Oh god. Let's see. I'm gonna pick the one with the most views here. There we go.
He got a lot of videos up. Like,
Yeah.
some of the videos got. One video got 180,000 views.
Oh my god. Okay, I need to find that. Gee, where is that?
Even more, 180 again.
Dude, this guy works, man. This guy works harder than a lot of people. in
Somebody,
esports.
I think TaKe has
more
been
views than
helping
I
him.
do.
Actually, this is
Yeah.
TaKe's little side project, isn't it?
TaKe TV's next star right here, man. Where is it?
Echt, traut sich jemand?
What is going on?
Where is it?
Unbelievable.
What?
That's his
Why-
face. I'll recognize
Wait,
that
he's
face.
posting somebody else's.
It'll
Okay,
hold
let's
me until the
just
day
get
I
one
die.
with his. Okay, here we go. Alright, let's just post this. Here we go. Wow, he's got 65 videos, man.
Somebody posted the one with 180k viewers.
Bitte Leichtigkeit,
It's,
nicht weiter.
In German, leck mich am Arsch, Marie.
In
Yeah, there we
Sardinien
go.
wirksam,
Is that actually his video though?
Leck mich am
Really?
Arsch, Marie. Leck mich am Arsch, Marie. Leck mich am
Yeah,
Okay,
Arsch,
all right,
Marie.
so,
anyway, just check
this
him out
is-
because
yeah, so-
he's crazy. A lot of his stuff's in German, but he actually translated some of his poems into English as well. So you can listen to him. He's,
So just
yeah,
another,
fluent, like fluent English. One of the woman in the bar was telling me he used to be like some
Smart.
physicist or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And he went crazy. Serious.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
just another site that you're gonna see at Homestory Cup, man.
I feel like we're now getting into like areas of social concern, which is like it's all a bit serious. But yeah, he's honestly Homestory Cup, man. It's got everything: crazy hobos, not nasty neighbors, everything you want, man.
Yeah, actually, like one of the neighbors, actually only one neighbor ever always complains about whatever I do, and it's a woman. She's keeping talking to the city just to try to forbid about Homestory Cup, like try to cancel the events and stuff like that. I had to talk with different
Dude,
departments.
she's just hot on you, man. She just wants some loving. That's what she wants, man.
Have you tried to get her to watch it and like maybe
Actually,
she'll have a newfound respect for it?
Yeah, but no, she doesn't want to. Like, actually, her reason is it's always too loud because her daughter got exams every day at school, and it's very loud every day. Even in the when there's vacation for the kids and so on, the kid has always exams. Always. This is the main reason. That's
What is
actually
this? Is
that's
this an Asian family? What is this?
no. Just, like
Isn't the term Oriental, Chris?
Oh my god.
It's Oriental, yes.
Oh god, Richard. But all right, getting back on track. I don't know, we got down that route. Wanted to talk to you about just the you talked a little bit about just all the expenses and stuff and how you've upgraded your production and I mean shit, just having 4 internet connections, I can already tell what kind of expenses that is. Talk a little bit about the profitability of the tournaments. You work on a lot of other things too, but in particularly Homestory. Is it profitable?
no.
Okay.
I didn't think so.
It's
Not
like
a
what
bit.
event is profitable, right? So I was kind of crossing my fingers it would be, but
The good thing about Homestory Cup is it's you call it in English flagship. Can you
flagship.
flagship, yeah, like with this product you can attract new sponsors
Oh
to
yeah.
support you
Yeah.
for your daily business.
Sure.
Other than that, it wouldn't work because I'm we didn't do all finances for this Homestory Cup done. Like we have to still calculate everything, get all the receipts and invoices and so on. But I think from the last standings I had, I think it was more expensive than the money I've earned, and there's not my time I invested included and stuff like that. And I also have employees working for me, so and they had a lot of extra hours which they did for Homestory Cup, which is also money because they have 3 days now. I think actually it's not profitable for sure, and the only good thing is that there's hopefully new partner who are willing to support for my daily shows, which are not that expensive.
Okay. So you're kind of trying to fund it with your other, in a way, it's kind of funding it with your other projects, but the benefit that you get from Homestory.
Do you think, TaKe, though, there would be ways if you cut down on some of the things that make Homestory Cup what it is? Do you think there would be ways to make it profitable?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
I always try to get my shit together. Like all the money I invest, I try to keep it as low as possible. I mean, I can tell you that Homestory Cup probably cost me around 70K. Everything. Like all slide, everything.
Wow.
Everything. Which is, probably a little bit more.
So for all of those listening, what the word is that everyone thinks that people make money off of events, and the truth is you just don't. You just
no
don't.
matter the size of the event too.
No,
It's just,
I mean, we've talked about Lone Story. That'd be a good combination.
Yeah,
Lone
that might turn into
Lone Story Clash.
Yeah, Lone Story Clash. We talked about Lone Story Clash, and even with the help that the colleges provided in the first one, and just all of the resources from all of the people volunteering their time, it's very, very difficult to make money running events
They
like
came
this.
close though, right? They
They
came close
did.
to
They
breaking
did.
even.
They did come close. Absolutely, they did come close.
But yeah, the university
very
provided a lot,
difficult.
a lot of that.
Yeah, they did, and then now everyone is working for free, for the most part.
Yeah.
That's also a big problem in esports still. If you, like you, I still have, like, let's say there were 25 people working for me all over the Homestory Cup, and in the middle of it, after it, and some of them I pay nothing, like 10 of them probably, and then there were 15. Some of them work for me, like think about it, like 5 people or so, and another 9 people who are freelancer or like just get like a small amount of money to just be around and invest a lot of money. If they wouldn't do that, Homestory Cup wouldn't be possible. That's for sure. Because if everyone gets paid the normal money they usually get in the economy, I think it doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
And
That's esports though. Yeah.
but it's sad because I think people like it's a business and there's money in it, and I think the range of viewers you have should give you the possibility to earn more money than what you do actually. But yeah, I think it still needs more time.
So there's a lot of talk about organizations, particularly like LG, right? That the revenue from the developers is a big percentage of, the revenue that they make from it, and obviously cover expenses and that sort of thing. So with Homestory, there's not really that option for you. So I correct me if I'm wrong. Is most of the revenue coming from either ad revenue from streaming, and maybe like the VODs too, as well as any of the other videos created on YouTube and posted on YouTube, as well as the sponsorship money? Are those really the main channels right there?
The sponsorships are by far
Okay.
biggest income I have. Revenues, like, to be honest, the revenue on Twitch is shit. Even with 60K people, whenever you do a commercial, it's shit.
How many commercials do you run though? I don't even notice them.
Not so many actually, because we don't want to interrupt the Homestory Cup too much, because we got the sponsor commercials already, which takes some time, which we play once in an hour around that, and then I'm not too sure, but whenever it fits, to be honest. If there's a break, we're gonna play one, yes. But if there's no reason, we don't gonna play one. And what we have learned from all the other Homestory Cups, the commercials, they don't bring you money, which is worth it to play them a lot. It just destroys the show, and it's like, I think you might do like $2K more if you play more commercials, like a lot more, but I think it's not worth it to do that. Not for $2K, which is probably €1,500 for me, and this would totally change the whole Homestory Cup to run a lot of commercials. And the sponsors actually support me the most by far, and this time
I imagine the sponsors have been getting better every year. I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Like most of them, at least, became. Yeah, actually, all of them became better from Homestory Cup to Homestory Cup. At some point, like the last 2 Homestory Cup, it's like almost the same amount of money, but first time ever we had Kingston HyperX this time, so they might be promising for the future. Let's see. It was just a test this time. Looks like they're pretty cool guys, and they like what we do, and I think that might help us too for the future. But one thing which also helped us in the past was the subscription on Twitch, which this time was very bad. We didn't promote it that much, but I also have to mention that before that we always had only 480p for free. This time we had 720p for free, and only 180p was subscription. So this actually, I think, changed a lot, because people didn't think they have to buy a subscription for 1080p. 720p was enough for them. And I think we only had 500 subscriptions overall. Actually we only had 250 new subscriptions, which is not a good amount. I think in the past we had like more than 1,500 or so.
So Twitch subscriptions.
Yeah, exactly. Which
okay.
actually gives you a good amount of money
Yeah, that's decent.
to invest
Okay.
into Homestory Cup.
Yeah, because it's monthly, right? So there is residual income. So,
So-
okay. So when you spoke a little bit about Home Story being your flagship product, and kind of you building more on to TaKe TV. How many years do you think it took for you to really get to the point where it is a flagship? It is something that you can actually present to bigger sponsors, because I know you can't just do it after one event. It usually takes like a string of them before you can get to that point.
The good thing about Homestory Cup, I never ever had to present it to sponsors. They always came to me, or
Nice.
someone sent them to me, because they said, "Hey, you should sponsor this event." I mean, I've met XMG a long time ago because I was working for them on CeBIT, and yeah, this was just a question about 500 euro for the sponsoring for the prize money. So we never expected to be having so many viewers on it and stuff like that. So it was just them being nice, helping me, getting like a small promotion. Then Rocket, I know the guys forever because they all come from esport. One of them, Marcus, for example, he was team manager for MTW a long time ago in the CS area. And I know him when I was 14, 15 or something like that. So we became friends a long time ago. Also the owner, Rene, I know him for a long time. And yeah, actually they were very interested in sponsoring Homestory Cup. And also the new sponsors which came up, RapidShare, for example, they messaged me like a long time ago and were very interested. But I think to answer your question, with Homestory Cup 4, you ever had, like, this was the first time where you could present it to bigger sponsors, a new flat, more chances to present sponsors, 32 players in an area which also had a good prize money or decent prize money. And this was the point where it became a little bit more serious. And yeah, I think this was the first time. So around 1.5, 2 years ago.
Yeah, in regards to sponsors, and you really pushing their their brand and their products, I feel like Homestory Cup's one of the few events that does it very, very well, because not only do you slap their logos everywhere, just on the overlays or whatever, and then you run the commercials during the downtimes too. But I feel like you actually integrated a lot into the live content also. Like, you talk a lot about like XMG, for instance, and then you're doing these giveaways downstairs. I mean, literally throwing swag away and talking about it. They must love you, right? I mean,
actually, whenever a sponsor got something, they want more, which is
oh
I think,
man, okay,
sure.
Yeah.
But they are happy. To be honest, I think also with this Homestory Cup, I think so, because I've talked to most of them. They are pretty happy with the result. In the end, they also care about the numbers, right?
Yeah.
But how we present them, I think they like it a lot. But I have the feeling when you give them more than they usually should or would ever get in other tournaments, they always want to have some more if it's possible. I think it's just in the nature, and they don't realize that it's like with Homestory Cup they get a sponsoring which also just stays in your head, I think.
Yeah. See, that's the problem. It's because we don't have a metric that shows that shows like your effect. I mean, outside of like me talking about it right now, as maybe an additional thing, maybe I don't talk about another event doing the same thing. How else can you really differentiate just how much impression or impact it has on the viewers? Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about it? John, what do you think of that?
Yeah,
I mean, you've worked with
question
sponsors,
again.
so.
Yeah, ask the question one more time. I want to make sure.
I mean, basically, not having a metric. Like Dennis is talking about, all those things I said that were so great about Home Story and how they were really pushing the sponsors' products. What Dennis was saying is that they kind of want more, because in the end there's nothing really to show that the benefits they got from it were any more than somebody who just slaps on logos on an overlay and just runs commercials.
Right. Well, I think they're starting to see that the logos just slapped on overlays is definitely not something that works. But again, how do we know? Because, I mean, well, one, we're not privy to all of their metrics, but when we've talked to them, especially like at Lone Star, they were For instance, AverMedia. The lady at AverMedia, this was like her second event, and it was the first time she was dealing with me directly. And she was playing hardball, which was good. I mean, that's their job, is to try to get as much out of it as they could. But we had mentioned, that we would have them on stream and everything like that. And really, that was not much their concern after their first couple experiences. They really just wanted to get their product in front of people, throw out swag, and they didn't. It wasn't so much about the stream numbers anymore as much as it was about the people that were actually there, or doing more personalized commercials, ones that were not. That were embedded into the actual stream itself. Those seemed to be a lot more important to them. But I think when I asked, I said, do you find that those things just end up giving you more return? And she said, yes. But I mean, what number did they have to show us? I don't know.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, I think it's hard. I mean, it's kind of hard for both parties, the sponsors and the content, or the organizers, because we're just guessing, and I feel like it's always one side that's getting screwed. I feel like in the dynamic of it. But okay, I kind of wanted to get in a couple more topics, and then we'll try to get some questions for you, Dennis, before you got to go. First one is, how do you pick the players?
Well, how do I pick them? Actually, well, it's a mix between skill and also fun, because I want to create personalities, but I also want to have personalities at Homestory Cup, because you need them to have the atmosphere you have at Homestory Cup. This time I actually missed a little bit Moman and Tarson. I think these guys, even when they are not the best players in the world, they make Homestory Cup fantastic. They make it special, and I think I'm pretty much considering to invite them to the next one, because I miss them a lot. And I know some people will complain about that, because I mean, even I play against Moman in the ladder, and I'm not a good player. Okay.
Wait, what are you saying?
Oh. I mean, Moman is Grandmaster, and he's a decent player, but he's not the top where you should be to play for $25,000 tournament. I think so, at least, when it's just about the skill. But when it's and invite tournament, but when it's about fun and skill, I think he deserves a slot, and he makes totally sense to Homestory Cup. So basically, I think I want to have people here who I think like each other. I think there should be always some people who actually don't like each other. Like this time, it's for real, Stefano and Deishi. They are not big friends, but well, it worked.
It's impossible to have everybody as friends. I think.
But it wasn't. Having Naniva here would be great too. He was supposed to go to Homestory Cup. He canceled last minute, which
shocker.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry.
And you want Nurture at the Homestory Cup. I have casted his Rhythmics games today. He kept talking bullshit to Snoot today, because Snoot was beating him in ZVZ with the same strategy all day long. He played. No, it was not Rhythmics. It was Ace at Team Story Cup, and he lost twice in a row against the same strategy. And he always kept talking shit like, "Hey man, wow, congratulations, playing always the same shit. Wow, nice roaches, stuff like that. You want this in the Homestory Cup, because people keep talking about it, and people will go on one side like, hey, Snoot is such a nice guy. Why do you talk bullshit to him? And on the other side, you have Nurture, and people will say, yeah, he's just a drama queen, and so on. I want it. I like it, actually. I like Nurture for this behavior and this kind of...
So your honest truth here. Did you mind not having X-Lord at this home story?
His replacement was Violet. So in case of that, I think I had a good replacement, so I'm not sad. But I don't know if you know, but X-Lord actually is the guy I found him somewhere in Warcraft 3 when he just started playing, and I invited him to SK. I pushed him like from the beginning. He won several German championships and so on. He was one of the best players in Warcraft 3 in Europe. He is a trash kid, but I mean, This guy actually, whenever he plays a game serious and
He's a good
plays,
player. Yeah.
he can be one of the best. I'm pretty sure about that. But he never liked the game, so that's also one of the points why he stopped. But whenever he played like a decent amount of time, I mean, he even finished third at Homestory Cup, beating Stefano twice. He went second place in the German championship. Before that, he won some German Pokal, blah blah blah, and he never played the same amount of compared to the other German players. And well, he's also crazy, but he never felt 100% comfortable
Nice.
at Homestory Cup.
Yeah, no doubt. Exeter had a very talented player, and I think he recently retired, right?
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah, so that's kind of a bummer from that standpoint, not seeing somebody possibly reach his potential. But what can you say when you don't like the game? You shouldn't be playing it.
By the way, about your question, I also like to consider, to be honest, like having some players which are also having some casting skills. Like most of the players that don't have casting skills, to be honest. But for example, Todd, I mean, I would invite him anyway, but he's also a great caster. I like him because he improves every single Homestory Cup. He comes back, he's better. Every single one. If you watch him Homestory Cup 3 and watch him Homestory Cup 7,
Yeah.
it's a fucking huge difference. Like this guy improves.
Well, he's pro now. I mean, he actually works for ESL too now. I mean, for some of the events.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, he did some casting, but he stopped now. But yeah, I mean, he also became a better player now. That's on top. Also a cool thing.
Yeah.
I think he's very close to get like
he's
on the top.
The rise. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very close, like beating all the very good players, and yeah. For example, someone who I missed a lot because we don't have a native speaker at Homestory Cup who's casting a lot is Jeff in control. He actually fits so good in Homestory Cup because he's so funny. He's trashing different people, and you can do that at Homestory Cup. You can trash everyone. You can talk bullshit about them, and this is what he can do the best. Talk a lot of bullshit about other players and make fun of people.
Well, he has stories too. Jeff has so many stories about.
Well, it's like I was saying at the start of the
players.
show. You know, in the same way that Homestory Cup did a lot for me, there's no doubt Homestory Cup did a lot for Jeff. You know, and what he's gone on to do, because certainly I think that was the first time when, you know, he was getting a lot of hate on Reddit at the time that I just happened to arrive there. Everyone was just ripping on him. You know, all the in cholesterol bullshit, all the, you know, all the negative shit that people say about him being a trash player, being overpaid, overvalued. You know, and he didn't do too great at the tournament. But I was watching him, and he was playing poker in the back room with all the guys. I was thinking he seems like a cool dude. And then he got on the stream, and he was hyped up on fucking energy drinks, and he was casting the games brilliantly. And he would just fluctuate from being really funny to then, oh, here's some intelligent analysis of the game. And after that Homestory Cup, he even tweeted, maybe it's time for a change. And there was a lot of brouhaha. You know, is he leaving EG? Is he going to become a caster full time? Whatever. And, you know, all of a sudden, that same Reddit crowd that was saying he was an asshole were like, wow, this guy could be, you know, a great personality to have within the scene, which of course was always true. And from there, you know, he's gone on to do so much. So I know Dennis is probably a little bit too modest to say it, but I'm sure if Jeff were here, he'd say the same thing. That opportunity for him really laid a solid foundation for what he's gone on to achieve, you know, as a caster and a personality.
It's definitely the right format for Jeff. I mean, what you guys do. I mean, you snuck Jeff in at the end too, right, on Skype. But yeah, just what you guys do, he's perfect for. And in some cases, I think he does great at all the MLGs and everything that he's been doing recently and has been doing for a while now. But there are some folks I don't think he, you know, it's on that, it kind of walks that fine line of being professional and not, right? Just the kind of jokes that he cracks. But I think they're awesome. But to kind of sneak in this last topic, just because, again, I know we have a time thing. I wanted to ask you, so...
Just to let you know, I mean, we have a bit more time.
Okay. Okay, great. But from a standpoint of WCS, were you giving out points for that, and if not, did you just want to bother with that whole process?
We were tied 2.
Oh, you were tier 2. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
So basically, I think we were the first tournament with tier 2. There was DreamHack, which was 1, I think.
Yeah.
But I think yes, it totally makes sense to give points away, which is also hyping your tournament a little bit more. And Blizzard usually should support you more if they're giving you points to give away, like promotion and so on. But in the real world, it's still a tough way, and I think since you have to also sign a contract, which also have a lot of stuff you are not allowed to do, and stuff like that. Actually, I was just a little bit disappointed about the like how it worked together with Blizzard, because I thought if we worked together, they would and should support the Homestory Cup a lot more, like in case of promotion, because Riot will always pay the big tournaments because they own all the big tournaments more or less. But with Blizzard, it's a little bit different. They want the big tournaments to be like themselves, their own companies and so on, and run their own tournaments. But I think they could support the big tournaments more with promotion, not with money. I think, which they would never pay to the normal events like I don't know, DreamHack or Homestory Cup. But I think in this case, they didn't even promote the Homestory Cup on the final day. Like no tweet, no Facebook message, even when we give away WCS points, which is pretty sad.
Was it ever on the load up screen?
It was on the top right. I think you call it digit or something like that. Like the top right when you're on the Battle.net, then you have.
But it wasn't the full. It wasn't the full thing.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the full thing. It wasn't the client promotion. If you asked for that, no.
Why they wouldn't be.
When you set up the original agreement with them, I mean, they obviously had a lot of stipulations for you guys, but they didn't lay out what they would do in return, or did they? And they just didn't follow through. Nothing.
Yeah. It's pretty.
I think the attitude with Blizzard is that they're just the points are like it's such a big thing as far as they're concerned. They think that's gonna, giving you that is gonna sell the whole event in its own right. That their relationship can end there, and they've done
maybe if the points meant something, Richard.
Well, exactly.
Something.
I know that Dennis put a lot of work in just to get the points at his event. We talked just before DreamHack about it. I know how hard it was, and again, like to put it in perspective, how far behind Blizzard are in terms of actually promoting these events, which is what they need to be doing to help prop up the esports side of things. Even Valve with promoting Counter-Strike lands. Small UK lands will be on the load-up client for CSGO at the moment. So, you would think the least Blizzard could do, considering WCS is their fucking brainchild, would be to put it on. So, I was disappointed about that as well. I mean, DreamHack, fair enough. That did get a lot of attention, but, the Homestory Cup seemed to be a little bit neglected, speaking as an outsider, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so
just one more thing. I just think that it takes a lot of time for Blizzard to just improve everything this WCS thing, it just started, and I think it's a lot of work for Blizzard, and at some point I feel it's too much, because they find new structures and so on, and they need still some more time to have everything run perfectly fine and smooth. I think we are not ready for that at the moment. I think there are still a lot of problems, which delays a lot of stuff.
So when you said that Homestory Cup was tier 2, did you actually even have a choice? Like, was a decision for you to be tier 2 versus tier 1, or do they just assign you the designation?
They more or less I could decide having tier 2 or nothing. They never asked me for tier 1.
Well, that makes perfect sense to me. I mean, if he's outlined what sort of event it is and what sort of players are coming on board, then Blizzard looks at it and says, okay, this is that sort of a tier. Even if he had all the top players, I think from my standpoint, if I was Blizzard, I'd look at it and say, okay, he might have 10 of the best players in the world, but a lot of what they're doing is drinking, lounging around, and whatever.
Yeah,
this is a different sort of a tournament. So I completely understand the tier 2 thing.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it was just Blizzard lays out these parameters to be tier 1, and then you just chose it just doesn't work out for Homestory, so I don't want to do some of those things. So it's just do tier 2.
I think actually we got the contract which is the same for tier 1. So all we signed was exactly the same. Actually,
okay.
we could have been theoretically, we could have been tier 1, I think.
Okay. Actually, Max Reiger says that tier 1 has to be open bracket. Is that, or have an
I would
openness
hope
to it?
so.
Is that true?
I would hope
Well,
so.
there is home story qualifiers, right? So.
You need at least 25% qualifier slots,
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it.
which is 8 players from 32. When we had 8 slots for that, but this is the same rule for tier 2, by the way.
Okay. All right, let's get to some of these questions here because there are some questions in Reddit here. First question is the same one that I kind of have for you, which I had, so I just kind of saved for the Q&A. Is La La Land asks, he says, finally TaKe gets more international recognition, blah, 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 which is yes, great. Ask him why he produces or your main content is only for us Germans. Because I think he could also please a large international audience to grow his company. And I actually kind of agree with that. So kind of, we were talking a little bit about that offline, but
Yeah.
Why don't you answer?
The answer, well, actually, yeah, you have different markets. There's a German market, also like sponsors, and they have a budget for the German market, which I perfectly find attract. And I have the contacts to these guys. I really like to cast in German because it's my native language, and I don't feel that comfortable with English. Just makes sense for me. I mean, this is how it started. I make my money with the German cast. I would not do the same money with the English cast, even if I would have more viewers, I guess, because I still miss the contacts to the sponsors, to the international budgets and so on, which is not that easy because there are also more people in the international area, I would say. Like there are more casters who are more interesting than I would have been as an English caster, for example. For the big tournaments, it totally makes sense to have English streams coming up, like Homestory Cup or the ASA Team Story Cup, the Team League. Have an English final makes sense. You promote the big sponsors, then they are having also international bigger European or global marketing budgets, which makes sense. But for most of the sponsors I have, and I also mentioned that I make more money with daily business than the big tournaments, which is German. I think, yeah, actually I wouldn't afford having all the content I have if I would make it in English because the sponsors pay for German shows actually.
I see. Okay. So next question was by CJ, and he asks, "What's your favorite moment of all 7 of the Homestory Cups so far?"
Phew, that's a tough question. There were a lot of good moments.
Yeah.
For me, when I finished Homestory Cup 3, I still was there with my girlfriend, like ex-girlfriend now. I actually invested, like, let me think about it. The Homestory Cup 3 was, I think, mid of June. I'm not 100% sure, but yes, I think so. And I started building up the flat end of March, start of April. And I worked like 24/7, which means almost 24/7, like 20 hours every day for 3 months in a row without break, nothing. Like I'm not kidding. I work 20 hours a day, every day, sometimes even more if it could be. And right before Homestory Cup, I didn't even sleep. Like I didn't sleep. I just worked, and there was still stuff in the flat because we had to build up so much stuff new for the first time. Like half of my family helped me, all my friends helped me. This flat looked so bad in the beginning. I still have videos on YouTube when you can see how it looked like in the beginning. Like we had to, I don't know, we had to build up so much new stuff, a new bathroom, the kitchen, everything is new, like everything, even the floor. At some point we had to renew it because it was like the difference from one room to another was like 7 centimeter. So yeah, it was just shit. And when Homestory Cup 3 started, I already felt pretty okay. But when it was done and everything worked out as I imagined it should be, like almost, I mean, there was stuff which didn't work. I almost had tears in my face when Homestory Cup 3 was done. All the players behind me, my girlfriend came upstairs, gave me a kiss, and she just said, "Now it's done." I was like, I think I was almost crying. Like I really tried to not do, but then the show was finally over, and I was fucking happy about that. Yeah.
I do that after every
That's
one of these shows. So
You
I
do.
almost cry. I almost cry every time.
Shit, I just go crack open some alcohol. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's all. That's amazing. Yeah, it's always nice to have those moments, where you just like so happy about it, or just so happy about what you achieved or what you accomplished there. So it's beautiful moments like that.
Oh yeah.
All right. See what other questions we got here in Reddit. Why don't we take one or two more questions? It can come from Stream Chat too.
Yeah.
I have literally had like 3 questions about why, about you casting in English, so it kind of took up 3 of them. Let's see.
Well, while we're looking for one, I'm just curious what your thoughts on the WCS overall are. I mean, share with us what you how you see that and how it's maybe changing the landscape of tournaments like yours and other tournaments that are just trying to hold StarCraft 2 tournaments and don't really want to compete with WCS, but it appears almost like that's exactly what's happening.
Exactly. I think, well, actually, it's getting tough lately because you need licenses from tournament to tournament. Last year, you had a license for 1 year. You could stream StarCraft 2 whenever you want to, big tournaments, whatever you want to. You just had the license for it. I mean, Blizzard, they don't care about your daily business. Like having a show with 3K people, they don't mind. If you include bigger prize money and so on in the prize money in it, they care about it. For like starting with this WCS season 1, they started to have license for every single big tournament you have, at least for me. So I have to get a license for Homestory Cup 7, 8, for Acer Team Story Cup, and whenever I need it, I also need to find the dates. And this is what I want. I want to have the Homestory Cup 8 second week of November, and this is what I sent them and asked for, which might take 3 months for them to confirm, because they don't know if they have WCS on it, and they're gonna let me wait as long as they want to, which might destroy my tournament. This is a big problem, I think, so far. I think the small tournaments getting more interrupted by this than the big tournaments. I think DreamHack, they don't have so much trouble with that, or MLG, because they have more power to just force us a little bit, Like, I couldn't force it, because in the end, I just say, no, you can't do it, and I'm fucked up. For sure, they can also fuck up MLG, which happens, actually. But it's still a different level, I think. And, they actually, it's a problem for all the tournaments in the world, having WCS here, especially when the communication is not the best in the world. You need, this is a very sensitive topic, so you need to have a very good communication between Blizzard and all the tournaments in the world, because they want, it's a good point. They don't want big tournaments on the same time. That's what they say. So what happened? Homestory Cup 7 happened, and on the same time it was the Red Bull event in America.
Yeah, but at least they didn't overlap. I mean, it was they did pretty much come after you.
Because of Red Bull and me, because we knew it 1.5 weeks before Homestory Cup. I knew it, and they knew it.
Did Red Bull have points as well?
Sorry?
Did Red Bull have WCS points attached to it?
They didn't.
No, I'd be surprised.
So they could have just done that on their own, and then just out of pure luck, it overlapped yours, correct?
Yeah. What we did when I knew it, I talked to Rob Simpson. Luckily, I knew him from Blizzard times, and he moved his event 3 hours later than he wanted, and I started 1 or 2 hours earlier than I wanted, actually. So I think I missed some years, because I would love to have Homestory Cup later in the night for the Americans. But to not crash in another tournament, I just moved my tournament a little bit in the morning, or early midday, and he started later, which was okay for both sides, and we did some cross promotion. But this just happened because I knew him and he knew me. This was just luck, and to know about this 1.5 weeks before the tournament starts sucks a lot. because one of the reasons I had to wait for my license was that they had to look into the schedules and if there's a different tournament beside Homestory Cup. And in the end, waiting all this time, what happened? There was a tournament on the same time, which made me feel a little bit like, I don't know. I felt like, well, just I thought they were kidding me. Like, how can this happen?
Yeah, that's pretty rough. I mean, it was rough on Red Bull too. Yeah. So when did you? So you found out a week and a half before?
Yeah.
the event?
Like,
Wow,
it was
that's
luck
crazy.
because Rob was talking to me and asking me if there's tournaments going on for me. And I was like, yeah, Rob, there's Homestory Cup. He said, what? There's Homestory Cup? I said, yeah.
It's kind of
Like-
random that you figured it out.
Yeah, it's more or less random. And then I was like, did you talk to Blizzard? He said, yeah, I was waiting for my agreement like such a long time. And we were almost waiting the same amount of time. And I was like, okay, well, we can't change it anymore. And let's do the best out of it. And that's what we did in this case.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't change the fact that we probably still need some type of overlying either organization or something that at least keeps track of the schedule for all the tournaments, right? I mean, there was some talk of that at Valencia last time with the whole MLG DreamHack and
Well, personally, if the developers are going to be as involved as they are and want to have control, then they should
sure,
do it.
yeah,
Exactly.
But they won't.
By the way, I mean, they knew about it, but somehow the left side didn't talk to the right side, and this is what happened, you know? Like someone, I don't know, I guess in America someone knew that there will be the Red Bull event from Blizzard, but this guy didn't know about the Homestory Cup, which is on the same time.
Yeah.
right. Well, you guys made the best of it, though. I mean, I think.
I mean, it wasn't a big problem in the end, but it still feels a bit weird that this happens when this was one of the main reasons why it was late.
It's ridiculous. Can you imagine this happening with the League of Legends event? You know, can you imagine Riot not knowing about two events going on at the same time and all of that nonsense? It just wouldn't
Well, the
happen.
reason that they don't is because they've stifled the growth of the community so much that there's not a lot of tournaments going on. I'm dead
Oh, yeah,
That's
serious.
true.
I've been
That's
saying this
actually true.
Developers need to get out of game of running events. I'm just saying it.
And ever think about it any other games, Dennis?
Well, this is the reason why I don't do LOL. That's what John mentioned. This is the reason I don't run any LOL things, nothing, because I don't know, I don't like it.
The thing is, though, I definitely don't want to go off on this fucking tangent. But if anything, the creation of LCS and the way that's being sustained and the amount of attention and the money that's being pumped into that, this is the time an amateur scene actually needs to flourish for League of Legends.
Yes.
Because if you're not LCS, you've got fuck all. And I mean, you know, it's miserable. You know, I'm talking to guys who, like, before LCS were top European players, and now all of a sudden they're considered to be amateurs because they're just not in an LCS team right now, and they're going to events like DreamHack. And, you know, an event like DreamHack should be like a jewel in anyone's crown, but for those guys, it kind of feels like second prize. So, you know, just saying, I say we're definitely not having that debate. That's a show in its own right, Chris. Make a note of that.
Yeah, I mean.
But yeah, definitely, you know, the people, the community needs to come together and create an amateur scene that's actually worth engaging with. So people outside of LCS have actually got something rather than just, you know, the pros are the pros, and you've got this disparity, you know.
Yep.
Yeah, amateur is a very wide and broad area too.
That's what the people in LCS use to taunt the teams who aren't in it. Like when they play practices with them, if they win, they call them amateurs. If they lose, they call them amateurs. It's like a fucking dagger to the heart, you know. Because,
Well, technically, the LCS teams aren't even allowed to play in show matches for any other league. So it's basically, if you're not in LCS, you are an amateur. Period.
Yeah, but there's a whole space there for it. And
Well, there is
we
a
talk,
space,
we
but-
talk about all the spaces that in StarCraft 2, right? That need to be plugged, like CSL's doing the collision thing and that sort of thing. LCS, I mean, with League, that same thing needs to happen. It's just there's even less of a scene.
But
than
it
StarCraft,
takes
which is crazy.
situation. If you feel like you're not getting support, I
Yeah.
mean, what incentive do you have to continue to push out content for a game that you're not getting any support from? It's frustrating.
It's tough. I mean, they're different beasts. Any thoughts on Dota 2, Dennis?
Yes, we're gonna start the Dota 2 section very soon. We are planning on it we are planning on it actually for more than just a few months, but to realize it for us took us some more time because we want to have our own own area, like our own commentary area and stuff like that, the new table and cool designs and everything like that, which takes some time because Homestory Cup was just before, and before that we had the Team Story Cup thing going on, which also took us some time. We're still planning a new page, which is not working. We still didn't make it because we have a design which is done, which is very nice, but well, it's also about money and just time coding it and so on. But yeah, Dota 2 should hopefully start. Let's say in 6 weeks, hopefully. We're gonna start with German again, and we're gonna cast like the big tournaments where we got the license so far to do it in German and do some own stuff. Probably just start small. Let's see where it goes and if the people like it. I think there's still a lot of space for Dota 2 in Germany because there's no one casting it in German. And we got a good caster. It's not me because I'm not good in Dota 2. Someone I also know from the past. I don't know if you know him. It's Templar. He casted Warcraft 3 before. He did some StarCraft 2 in the beginning. He plays a lot of Dota 2, and he's fluent English and also German. He is German, but he speaks fluent English, which is also nice. So yeah, and I'm very interested in doing stuff like Homestory Cup for Dota 2 too, because I like Dota a lot, and also the community behind it more than League of Legends, I think.
Okay, great. Well, Dennis, big thanks for you coming on the show, and again, I appreciate you coming on because I know you've been feeling under the weather and you've been casting all day too, so it means a lot for you to come on and hang out with us.
Thank you for inviting. I really enjoyed it, to be honest, and just a little bit still sick, and hope I get healthy soon because it's very annoying to be sick. I hate it.
Yeah, I can't get better working as much as you work too, so gotta take a break, man.
Suck, man. They suck. They're always the worst. To have like a cold in the summer is the worst. Like,
yeah. But the weather in Germany is so horrible. Seriously, you would never like it. Like one day it's 35 degrees, and then the other day it's rainy. Probably even snow is coming close by. You don't know.
Dude, I live in Britain. That is summer.
Okay, but actually,
that sounds awesome. Like, can I have that all year round?
I would never go to Britain, like, if there's no reason for me, because this, like, I don't know. It's so rainy there. I need more sun.
Mm-hmm. Depressing there. No.
I would love to live in Los Angeles or so. That would be awesome.
Yeah, Southern California is nice.
Until you had to pay the taxes, then it wouldn't be so awesome.
Wait, you have no clue about German taxes, right?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I promise I pay more taxes than you. I'm 99% sure. I can tell you that I almost pay 50% taxes.
Wow.
That's
you get free healthcare though?
All my earnings.
You get free healthcare?
Sorry?
You get free healthcare though?
I have to pay it because I'm self-employed.
Okay.
Like my employees, they get it paid by me. This is the system how it works in Germany. So no, it's not good. Honestly, it sucks. The taxes are fucking high in Germany.
Dude, just wait. The taxes keep getting higher here each and every decade. So
I don't have to worry about taxes because I work in esports, so I don't earn any fucking money. So it's pretty cool.
You earn esports dollars, and you pay esports taxes.
Like, do you pay taxes on bitcoins? Keep running that ESEA client, guys. Thank you very much.
But Dennis, any shout outs you want to do?
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me here. For sure, I would love to do some more English content. Actually, I have Panda Tank here and also TaKe. I already asked them to do some English stuff, casting some of my like the Acer Team Story Cup or some other content we have, so we can do some English stuff. Actually, I asked them today, live in the show. Yeah, but I hope the people understand why I do German a lot, because just seriously makes sense for me. I feel more comfortable, and actually, it's very hard for me to just pay the bills with the English shows because my partners are German, most likely, all of them, most of them, and they want me to do German shows, and this is the reason why they actually pay the shows or the sponsorships.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah, and I hope the people keep supporting esports, because all we do, all what you do, all what the people here in this chat do is creating content in esport, and this is what I like and love, and well, this is my passion. I invest so much time in this, and this is not only work. It never was and will never be only work, because otherwise I couldn't feel comfortable in what I do. It's impossible.
Yeah. Here, man. Just keep crushing like you're doing, man. Just keep. TaKe TV is going to be taking off. Taking off. No, but
No
yeah.
pun intended.
Yeah, it's great. It's great seeing you, hosting events and doing all the content you do. So keep at it. We need more people like you, Dennis. So, all right, guys. What we're gonna do is the show's not gonna end here like it typically does. We're actually gonna take a break, and then we'll come back, and the three of us will either talk about just random shit or take questions from you guys. So we'll be back in a second.